Okay, today I'm going to discuss certain types of commercial properties versus residential properties. I have written on the board here 4 major commercial property types. And these are the main ones I'll be discussing with you. There are others, but these are the main ones. Number 1 would be apartment buildings or multi-unit properties. I think everybody knows what those are. Number 2, office buildings. That can be a small office building, it could be a large office building, but mainly leased out to people who need offices. Retail buildings. Now, retail buildings can be a single building like a taco stand, or it can be a shopping center, which has 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever in there. But those would be retail type buildings. That's because they have retail businesses in there. Next type are industrial properties. I happen to like industrial properties because you don't have to deal with plumbing, toilets, etc. Now, we do have some other types of commercial properties that I'm really not going to get into right now, but I just want to let you know what's out there. Like number 1, you have a self-storage. Number 2, you have healthcare, which is basically hospitals. Number 3, hotels. And number 4, senior living centers. These are just more examples of commercial property types. But for right now, I'm going to stick to the main 4. Okay, I'm going to come over here to the advantages now. What are the advantages to owning commercial property over residential property? Well, number 1, it's more profitable than buying a single family dwelling. If you buy a 30-unit apartment building, chances are you're going to make a lot more money than if you bought a house. Okay. Number 2, most of the commercial properties, not all of them, but most of them are non-recourse debt. What is non-recourse debt? That is debt that if you don't pay for whatever reason, they will not go after you for the money. Recourse debt, which there is some, like if you do a refi cash out, then it might be a recourse loan. But in this case, most of them are non-recourse loans. The only thing that you can go back after is the property. Number 3, you have a chance to create your own value when you have commercial properties. Number 1 is you can change the property from a B property to an A property by fixing it up in an A area. You can take a C property, fix that up in a B area, and raise that from a C to a B building, just like a B building to an A building. Okay, by doing that, you usually lower the cap rate, and by lowering the cap rate, you're increasing the value of the property. And the other day I did a video on cap rates, and you can go on my site and look up those. I'm not doing the cap rates right now. Next thing you can do to get the income up is you can raise rents. If you're getting $500 a month and you raise each one to $550 a month, you pick up $50 a month on each unit. And how many units you got? Let's say you got 20 units. So you just picked up another 10 grand right there. Okay, so that's going to increase the value. Those two things that's called forced inflation. That's what I call it. Forced inflation. You can't do that so much on houses. Because first of all, on houses, when somebody moves out of your house, you have 100% vacancy. If you have a 20-unit apartment building and you lose 2 tenants and you have 2 vacancies, now you're at 90% occupancy. See the difference there? Okay. And I just explained that right here. Minimally affected by the vacancies. Okay. What are disadvantages? Because there are disadvantages also. First one is, if you're trying to sell the building, it's going to take longer usually to sell than it would a house. A house you can sell to an investor. A house you can sell to a homeowner. There's different choices of buyers out there for you. However, in this, if you're selling an apartment building, I'm using this as an example, there are not as many apartment building buyers out there. So one might have to wait an extra month or 2 to find a buyer. So they take longer to sell. Higher cost. Usually there's more down payment on the property. You usually get a higher interest rate than you would on a residential property. But still, I think the advantages override the disadvantages on this. And last here is the good deals are hard to find. There's a lot of real estate, residential real estate. There is a lot of commercial also. But most of the people that own the commercial properties are investors. And investors, unless they're in trouble, are not trying to get rid of the property at a fireside sale. A lot of them hold out for retail. So you got to go in there and find the best deal for yourself, and that takes a lot longer. Okay, so that gives you a general of what's going on with commercial businesses. I'll have more videos in the future and get down to each one of these separately. But for this one, I just wanted to show you what was out there. I'm Floyd Brown, and if you need to know any more information, you can go to my Facebook page or my YouTube page.